I think we are ready to get started. So again, thank you all for joining us today. Today, me and Coach Kirsten are going to be talking to you all about selecting an employer and some things to consider when you're selecting an employer. So, welcome back everyone who has attended our webinars before, and a new welcome to all of our scholars or graduates who are joining us for the first time. We're very happy to have you here. All right, so today I am Coach Krista. I have a background in nonprofit career coaching. I'm also joined by Coach Kirsten. She has a background in recruiting and education. So we have a lot of really valuable knowledge that we want to share with you all today. Awesome. So careers are made where you choose to work. So identifying employers who value your skills and invest in your success is critical, especially when you're early on in your career, when you're making a career transition. The types of benefits and experience and the reputation of the company, all of that really matters, especially at the beginning. The first thing we're going to talk about is reputation and reviews. So it's very important that you understand the public reputation of the company and what the company culture is like. So helpful tools such as Glassdoor and Indeed reviews, they can help you gain insight on the thoughts of previous and current employees. This can help you identify any red flags ahead of time and help you make the best informed decision for your career. And then also accreditation and awards. So this goes hand in hand with reputation. Research the types of accreditation and awards that the company has received. So some smaller startup companies might have limited information in this area. This isn't automatically a red flag. Just keep that in mind. But if your company of interest has been around for a really long time, you're having a hard time finding information, about those accreditation and awards, this is something that you should consider and further research before accepting an offer. And then also financial stability. So consider utilizing the internet to do research on the financial status of the employer. If you're unsure what to look for and where to find that information, it is a lot to unpack. So doing a quick Google search of how to identify the financial status of an employer brings up a ton of really helpful guides. They'll list the types of red flags you should be looking for and the areas that you should be considering on the financial report. And then finally, compliance and ethics. So this kind of goes in hand with the reputation and reviews. If you identify any compliance or ethic issues in comments on Glassdoor or Indeed reviews, it's important to examine the validity of that. Not all employees who have left the company have left in good terms. So, don't believe what you see at firsthand. Try to do further research on the issue before coming to a conclusion. So identifying great employer benefits. One of the major benefits to consider is health benefits. So you want to ensure that your employer, if you're a full-time employee, offers benefits such as medical, dental, and vision. When you're comparing two different offers, one that pays slightly less but has better health insurance coverage might be a better option than one that pays slightly more and doesn't offer those same benefits. So, don't always take that pay rate at face value. Investigate what other benefits the employer can offer you.
This also goes with if they have benefits that would also healthcare benefits that would also cover your partner or your children. Like the prices for that also can, lean you towards a job that might pay a little less hourly or salary, but the benefits actually will help offset that cost in the long run. So just really diving in and making those comparisons really do help at the end of the day. Sorry, Krista.
Oh, it's okay. Thank you so much for adding that, Coach Kirsten. I really appreciate you jumping in. Something else to consider is retirement plans. So especially when you're early on in your career, even mid in your career, not really thinking about the end of your career, but starting out, right at the beginning with retirement plans, especially if there are companies that will match your contribution, it's really going to add up and lead to your long-term financial success. So make sure, you're considering what types of retirement plans they offer and what kind of contributions they will make.
There also are HSA and FSA benefits that sometimes employers will put down to help offset the cost of some of your healthcare. So the healthcare savings accounts really do do help, and those can offset different things. And sometimes 401ks, they can match, employers can match the contributions. So you'd be able to, have a little bit more bang for your buck further on to be able to help you, assist you with your retirement planning.
Awesome. And then we have professional development. Again, this is also really, really important throughout your entire career. Assess what types of opportunities that they offer, paid or give you time off. If that's continuing your education, renewing and keeping your certifications up to date, and also just professional growth. Are there opportunities for you to advance in your career at the organization you're considering? I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Coach Kirsten to continue talking about the benefits.
All right. Hello, everybody. We're going to go up to the next slide and talk about work-life benefits, which I feel has lately in the last 4 or 5 years has been coming up a lot when it talks about employers. And you really need to evaluate what type of schedule and, will work for you. So if there is a flexible schedule, let's say, it's weekends and your partner works during the week and you have children, you have to be able to make sure that the schedule will work for you. A lot of times I hear of people that are just applying for a job just to get an interview, and they think that maybe that they can ask if the schedule can change. And that's probably not the case. They're reaching out for somebody to work the hours that they have posted on the job. And you shouldn't go into the interview or go in thinking that you can be able to negotiate that. If it says that there are flexibility with that, that's something you could bring up and ask. But a lot of times going in thinking that if they're asking for 12-hour shifts and you only want to work 8 hours or vice versa, what they're putting out there, what they want is what they want. So, being very honest with what you're looking for and what they're looking for is something that's going to help you align with what will be a great opportunity and a great job to apply for. I hear a lot about remote work options, and some people that just want to just get down with their certification and just completely work remote. And sometimes I feel like a lot of companies are going to having remote work options for more tenured employees. So that is something that you can consider if they talk about that could be an option depending on what type of position. But knowing that a lot of times, especially for some of the healthcare jobs, they want you in person for a while, depending on the position, patient care reps, or if that is that flexibility for remote or hybrid. But it seems like the trend is they really want in person to build that camaraderie, and so you have all your questions asked and you're right there. And then there's possibility for remote work options the more tenured you get. And adequate and usable PTO. I know that there has been a big trend in some businesses to go to unlimited PTO, but that doesn't mean that you can take unlimited PTO. You're still going to have to work to get your paid time off, but being able to ask questions. How hard is it to be able to get time off around the holidays? Sometimes in healthcare, you might not be able to get holidays off, and there might be just a sign up at the beginning of the year to sign up to get Christmas off or Thanksgiving or different holidays throughout the year. And that's something to consider if your family always goes to visit family across the United States a certain holiday. That's something that you want to make sure, if that is truly important or what the flexibility is there, you really want to make sure that that is aligned to what you're looking for. And sometimes you might think that you might have PTO right away. A lot of businesses wait until you have your 90 days or 60 days or meet certain requirements to be able to get your healthcare benefits and your PTO. That's something to also consider as well, because if you're thinking that you can just get your healthcare right away and drop whatever you had for previously and not have that backup, that might not be the best situation for you or your family. So just being able to have all your questions answered, around the offer time is really great to know. So then you are prepared to know that you might have a gap in healthcare, a gap in PTO, and if you had something planned to talk about that. That's something you don't talk about in the interview stage. That's something you talk about when you're getting an offer. But definitely, people are flexible, and they want to. If they give you an offer, they want you working for them. They're going to try to work with you. And then these are additional benefits that some companies do provide, which is always great to know. I know when I was working in person for a previous job and I had to go downtown and parking is non-existent. They had cheaper parking in their parking lot than anywhere else. You had a special key card. So that goes with, I'm kind of jumping around, goes with transportation. If they might have a transportation card that the company fills up with so much money every month or a year, or reimbursements that you might have to fill out, travel reimbursements or special parking, is something to always consider. Also knowing that if you have children, some companies do provide on-site childcare. There's some facilities that they do, so you could just drop your kid off at daycare and go to work, or there's might be a possibility of having them have a partnership with the company that you're working with, that like either it's a discounted rate or spots that are held for you, because I know sometimes they fill up pretty quickly, so that's also something to consider. And they might also have vouchers depending on like if there are a bunch of different childcare facilities within the community that they have a partnership with. And then also just like knowing the access to different amenities to and from work. First off, you want to make sure that it is a feasible commute, because no one wants to get a job and figure out it's a 2 hour trip there, 2 hour trip back, and your time is precious. So making sure that you have in your mind how big of a commute you want and what would be negotiable for you, and then just making sure that that fits into your life. Um, if your child care is on the opposite side of town and you are 45 minutes away, does that timing work well with when your shift would end and when you would have to pick up your child? Also just when you take your breaks from work, are there parks nearby? Are there food? Like, is there a place for you to just take a minute and just kind of breathe a little, because that work-life balance is really important. You'll get burnout really fast if you just stay on site all the time and just, focusing on work. You just need to step out a little bit and maybe just take a walk, or just sit in a park and read. Just something to always consider, just to make sure that you have that balance within your job. And then we actually have some union members here today. And so I'm just going to really quickly talk a little bit about just a brief overview, and then we're going to go into some questions for some of the union members that are joining us. So what union healthcare is there to support you with your employment and your success. So union representation means that you have a strong backing of people there to support you with your employment, and they will be able to negotiate on your behalf. I am constantly, when I'm talking to new grads, hearing that they really want to work for certain companies, and they all seem to be union companies. The names that really come to mind are Kaiser, Sutter, Dignity, Common Spirit, and they are like, all I'm hearing is like they have great benefits, they have great pay. Well, that's because they're a union healthcare employer, and that you have a large group of people working for the betterment of your employment. They have collective bargaining where the results of that are higher wages, better job and security, health and retirement packages that Krista talked about. These are things that that come to the table when you're in a union employer, and so those are things that you really need to think about what you can have with a smaller clinic as opposed to someplace that has connections to the union. Union always helps dispute concerns and grievances, and make sure that there is open communication between the employees and the employer, which makes you feel really good as an employee, because that you have people that are willing to listen to you and to have your back. And workplace conditions, definitely, a couple of years ago during COVID, that's all we heard about was healthcare, workplace conditions, PPE, and unions were really strong in making sure that, doing the best they could to make sure that all of their employees had the best working conditions that they could possibly have in that situation, and the safest for the employees and for the patients. And that, you want to work someplace that they're considering you and the patients and just overall everybody, instead of just kind of the bottom line. And kind of going briefly into this, I'm not going to dive too far, But with the union, you do have that access to the California Ed Fund, which helps with, continuing your education. It could help cover tuition costs, have scholarships, funding for different professional development to help grow your career. I was just talking to a graduate today that is going to be interviewing with a union employer later this week, and that's the biggest concern. She wants to make sure that she can grow in her career because she's just starting out as a medical assistant, but she wants to continue further. And so this is something that she was really excited about, that she'll eventually have access to be able to just, help secure a future. And so she can grow within a company instead of feeling that she has to leave to do something else to be able to grow within her career. And then I would like to introduce Sonia Allen Smith. She is going to speak to us from the union. She's a workforce executive committee leader. Do you want to introduce yourself, Sonia, or do you want me to kind of go through
I
this?
can introduce myself.
All
So,
right,
good
welcome.
afternoon, everyone. My name is Sonia Allen Smith, and I am a statewide econ member that really focuses on workforce throughout the union and the statewide for Northern and Southern California. I'm also a region lead radiologic technologist, and I have licensures in MRI and also mammography, which I was able to grow and extend through my current employer, which is Kaiser Permanente.
Um,
So, well,
so go ahead.
I just want to say thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. I would love just to ask you a few questions, just so kind of just like a brief overview, because a lot of the graduates we're working with are just kind of starting out in their careers. So can you kind of give me a brief explanation of like the mission and goal of the union, or the SEIU UHW?
So, I think it's important to just brief over, but I really would like to read it because I think it's really powerful. And I think you mentioned as you talk with your grads, understanding where a healthcare organization or a union is, it really starts with their mission statement. So I would like just to take that opportunity to read it. So our mission is to build a workers' organization dedicated to being a powerful force to change workers' lives and fight for social and economic justice. Our vision of workers' organization is one in which there is an expectation that the members lead and decide together on which conflict is embraced and which conflict is embraced as healthy, necessary, and inevitable part of making positive changes, and one of which the union integrity is beyond approach. Our purpose is to promote better working conditions and better future for our members and all working people. It is our objective to build strong and more effective labor movement by organizing and organized workers, building an effective political voice for working people, and protecting all workers from unacceptable or unjust actions by an employer. We are committed to providing our working lives. We are committed to improving our working lives, supporting our families, ensuring that we are able to provide the best quality of care to our patients, consumers, and residents, and promoting quality, affordable health care for all. As a member of SEIU UHW, we have a long shared set of common principles and values that bind us together to create a unified vision of our future. And I think the mission statement is very powerful when you break it down. And as being a UHW member and a healthcare worker, it really resonates. Sometimes you read the mission statement after you get involved, but when you read the mission statement, have you been so engaged, you realize it is working towards its mission. So I thought that was powerful.
Yeah, that really is. And so kind of going off that, what do you feel like are like kind of the benefits that people feel when they first, like, they go from maybe a smaller clinic and then they get into a union job? What do you feel like is that kind of like where they're like that aha?
I
Like,
think when people go from a smaller institution and go into a union institution, and I may change this around so you can always come back to me, is what they feel is they really like the benefit, pension, and wages, right? When you go from a smaller clinic or company you come in, wow, I'm making a decent salary now, right? Where I can do extra things for my family. Wow, you know, I have a pension. And then I have benefits where I pay $5 copay for all my children and my spouse and my family. That is something that people always walk into initially and like, oh, this is wonderful, right? So I think that that's initially what they get. Um, but I also think on that same token of getting that, they understand they who got that for you, which is your union. And if you go back to their mission statement, we really fight and bargain for quality work environments and also benefit pension and wages.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. And then like when there comes to like actual workplace concerns or any issues, how does the union support employees in that?
I think one of the greatest things to know is that each union, when you come into a healthcare organization that's unionized, you have a local bargaining agreement. So a lot of times, and what that means is that some people don't know that, you know, they just can't send you home because there are, you know, too many people at work. We have language that supports your working conditions. So the first thing we do if someone has an issue is to let me just step back. The first thing you do when you come into an organization, you're all in this glory of this high moment of all these wonderful benefits that you have. I would say the second thing is to make sure you look in your department and ask who's your shop steward in your department, right? So that you know who your union leaders are, who are the leaders in a department, union leaders in a department. So when you have a workplace issue or concern, you know how to elevate it. You're not just sitting in there, you know, you have a way of elevating it. And so that the process, if there's a workplace issue or concern, you were going to talk about it with your shop steward in your department or your leader in your department so they can say, oh, well, they can do that. Oh, time out. You know, you can't do that. Let's go have a conversation with management to fix this challenge. And a lot of times you have, just as we have new frontline employees, you have new managers that also need to be educated. And we're going to take it as they didn't know. So we go in together as a partner in our current situation with Kaiser Permanente. We go in and we talk with the manager and we say, hey, did you know that in our contract states that this has to happen? So we're building that partnership with the labor manager partnership. And we're showing the members that you do have a way of progression if things are not being, you know, employed right within your working unit.
Yeah, and that probably alleviates a lot of stress when people are coming into a new company or kind of just sometimes there might be some issues and it's nice to have someone that has your back and you can just go to and run some ideas off of. Can you tell me like some of like the most recent successes that the union has achieved for members?
So the biggest one is, I think our largest one, I'll just talk about organizational wide. We had the SB 525, which we had the minimum wage, help the minimum wage go up to $25 an hour. That's huge. That's through our political engagement. And these are all frontline members that pushed this and this goal and went out organizing and talking with members within their communities. We also had our Kaiser bargaining, which we bargain our contract every 4 years. We got $100 million for Futuro. We got an increase to our ed fund, which is for incumbent members. I think almost about $10 million. It's a 0.5 to a 0.7, which is huge because that's incumbent members. We really value them growing. We just organized a campaign of organizing the unorganized, and we just organized in a Sharp hospital in San Diego. I think our goal is to organize 25,000. We have already organized 1,000, I believe 1,500 people already, if I'm correct. So those are some of our huge successes across our union. And all those things impact us, the union, to continue to grow, to continue to advocate for the best working conditions and also good benefit pension and wages.
That's amazing. And kind of piggybacking off of that, can you speak on a little bit about like how the union helps with more professional development and career advancement?
Well, one of the things which is near and dear to my heart, and one of the reasons I heard you speaking earlier is that I was so very glad to work for Kaiser Permanente, because I do like to to your students who want to grow, this is a great organization. We have a trust funded, which is with the educational fund, partners with SEIU UHW to create career pathways for incumbent members to grow into different professions. We also have tuition reimbursement programs where if you wanted to continue to go to school on your own, you got $3,000 you just get from Kaiser Permanente every year to go towards your educational growth. Through the Ed Fund, they have tuition reimbursements that they provide. They also have they do career pathways, and then they also I can't remember the proper word where it's which if you had to work, you were able to take one day off and they'll pay it for you so that you can go to school. There's a specific term for it, and I haven't used it in a long time. But that is our go-to person, is our educational fund. They have the opportunity to meet with a career counselor to help them grow, to see what is it that you want to do. Where can you go in your current profession, or maybe something you want to try totally differently. So I think that's how we help them, and we educate them about that through our steward councils, flyers in the building, flyers on the building bulletin board.
Oh, that's amazing. And then how does the union kind of help with negotiate wages, benefits, working conditions? Like, how do they know what the union members want?
So when we bargain our contract every 4 years, we just ended bargaining in October, and how they know is that we build a bargaining team. So that means that people are elected into being from each region, or each facility has, they call them CIC, Common Interest Committee. So you'll vote 2 people in. So that it's really important that we have a process that's already written out in terms of how we elevate our existing members to be on the bargaining team. So another thing that we do before bargaining, we send out a flyer or card to all of our members and figure out what are their interests, what is challenging, where do we need to be focusing on, and we take all that information back and we create and align it with what we see are trends also in the society, in just healthcare period, and we align it together. So this year was really about short staffing, right, and working conditions. So we focused a lot of this bargaining that was a no-brainer for a lot of people, right? And we knew it was inflation, right? So a lot of ours was about short staffing, fixing the short staffing and ensuring that it never happens again. And then the other piece was about making sure that our members who are healthcare workers providing working with our most vulnerable population, meaning our pediatrics and our elders and the critically ill, that they are compensated at a rate that they do not have to have 3 jobs to take care of you, Christina. So that was our biggest push. And then coming out of the pandemic, just making people feel whole. So we take in a lot of information from our members, and we take the outside influences in society and we bring it together and we bring it to the bargaining table. One of the biggest things we know, some of these employers are, what their executive directors get and all those kind of things, perks that they get unbeknownst to us. We're okay with them. I don't want to say we're okay. It's okay what they make. We just want to make sure that healthcare workers have a wage that they can be comfortable and have healthcare be their job, be their focus, and that they can have a quality life with their family. It kind of really speaks to our mission statement that I kind of read earlier.
Yeah, that's
I hope
awesome.
that was helpful.
It was very helpful. Thank you. And so, basically just kind of like how would somebody be able to find out if a company that they're applying for, a facility, is a union employer or not?
I think you would just ask, in your employment, are you union? Is your hospital union, supported by a union? And just ask it very subtly. Even though a lot of people we love unions because it really uplifts people. I hate to say it, sometimes it's not always, depending on who the interviewer is not really perceived as a.
People have different perceptions, but I think
just ask them, are you unionized? And then that could be a question you can ask in your interview question. Say, are you unionized? and just leave. And then there you would know. So if they are, after you get the job, after you do your employee orientation, you would you should know, you can ask, you can figure out who is in your union. The way we do it through Kaiser Permanente is when we bring new employees on, we have a call, which is called the NEO, New Employees Orientation. So in new employee orientations, you have the managers there giving them all the information about just the employer. And then once they're finished, they split off and go to their prospective unions for an orientation. And we orientate them through that, what we do, what we want, and how to get involved. So if it is a unionized place, when you ask the question, your union will be reaching out to you. If they don't reach out to you, when you get into your job, you can ask, do we have a department shop steward? Or is there a union contract? You ask those questions to people in your department once you get the job. And I guarantee you, they will reach out to you if you come to Kaiser. Also Dignity, Sutter, they're also part of us too, a hospital division.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I think we're going a little over, so I would just like to go to the chat just to see if there's anybody that has any questions for you at the moment. Okay, so Terry also said that it will state if it's a union position on the job posting, so that's good to know. I mean, just, it's always good to know when you're walking into an interview to know what, what type of company is the one that you're interviewing with. So we have a couple questions. Okay, so there's an ed fund. There's a specific about a local number to contact for the union. Well, I think maybe Terry might take that. Could you put your email in there so we could get that to Terry so she can help you? Does anyone have any questions for either Sonia or Krista or myself? We gave you a lot of great information, and it's kind of just, you're soaking it in. You can unmute yourself if that's easier, by the way. And so this is our this is a slide that has all of our information. And if you just want to reach out to any coach, not specific, the career coaching at AlliedUP is the email that gets you to all of us, and then we'll be able to reach out if you want to reach directly out to Krista or myself. Our colleague Francisco is off. This is our information to reach out to us. I'm really happy that all of you joined today, and thank you so much. And if you haven't gotten in touch with us, we really do help with your career journey and being able to help you kickstart being able to find that amazing position. Awesome. And I'm just putting the career coaching at AlliedUP in the chat because that will get you into contact with all of us. So that's probably the easiest because sometimes I misspell names. So, but thank you so much, everybody, for joining. And yeah, if you have any more questions, that's our email. So career coaching at AlliedUP, and we shared Terry and Sonia's as well. So thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.